Former President Donald Trump has plans to launch a new social media network, and before it has any working product, investors are suggesting it's worth more than $10 billion. Trump plans to take this new entity public through a special purpose acquisition company. Shares for that SPAC are already trading around $60 a share as of December 2nd. But what makes a company that hasn't done much yet worth so much money?
So following the January riot on the US Capitol, Donald Trump was banned from a lot of technology platforms. He was knocked off of Twitter, which he had famously used so much during his presidency. He was suspended from Facebook. So Trump basically said, okay, if you're going to ban me from all this stuff, I'm going to start a company that rivals your technology platforms. And I'm going to open it up not just to people like me, but to all sorts of people. And in doing so, I'm going to grab part of your market share and make a tremendous amount of money for myself while also giving myself a megaphone. And so that's a really, really interesting idea, and one that a lot of people are excited about. And that's why you see the value of this company right now surging so high.
A SPAC is an existing company that is publicly traded, created for the purpose of acquiring an existing company and taking it public on a stock exchange. The SPAC exists as a pile of money until it merges with a separate company, giving that company access to the SPAC's money.
So the pile of cash that you can buy shares in, right now, if somebody buys a portion of that, they're buying a portion of a pile of cash that has $293 million in it. But because people are so excited that this pile of cash is going to merge with Trump's company, they're valuing the pile of cash at way more than $293 million. In fact, that pile of cash, the shareholders who own it, once these companies merge, if the share price stays the same, those shareholders will be holding an interest worth $2 billion. So you have people valuing a $293 million pile of cash at about $2 billion because they're excited that Trump's going to get involved.
It's not clear how much of the Trump media and technology group Donald Trump owns, but there are indications he could own a majority stake. And at December 2nd's share price, Trump could hold a stake worth at least $3 billion.
If you break it down, Donald Trump, when he was president, before he got booted from all these technology platforms, had amassed about 150 million followers across Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Now, 89 million of those were on Twitter. Twitter right now is worth about $30 billion. And Twitter has 211 million people at last count that they can show ads to on a daily basis. So that means that the markets are valuing Twitter at about $142 for every person that it can show ads to on a daily basis. So let's say that Donald Trump convinces a third of those 89 million former Twitter followers that he had to come with him onto his new platform and to check it out every single day, so then they can send ads to it. And let's say that the market decides to value Trump's company like it would value Twitter. That would mean that Trump's company would be worth about $4.2 billion. Now, you're still a long way from the $8 billion that they're saying that it's worth right now. But if you play with those numbers, you could convince yourself that it's not such a crazy bet. Remember, what they're talking about doing here isn't just creating a Twitter knockoff. It's creating a competitor to Twitter, to Disney Plus, to Netflix, even to Amazon Web Services. So if they can start to chip away at little parts of those markets, and you can create, a couple $1 billion out of that, you've got a few $1 billion out of Twitter, you could get to numbers where investors might say, hey, wait a second. The opportunity here is way bigger than $8 billion. And I trust in Donald Trump so much, and I really, really want to buy and be a part of this thing. Now, that's an incredibly risky bet. None of this stuff exists yet. They don't have a product, even for the first thing, the Twitter knockoff, let alone for other things. And convincing people to come onto your platform isn't an easy thing to do, nor is convincing advertisers to pay to be on that platform. But if you get creative enough, you could get to numbers where you say, okay, maybe this actually makes sense. And then it's a question of how much do you like Donald Trump and how much risk are you willing to take on?